All right. Well, we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the SOAR webinar series. This Friday, today, we will be going over Army and ROTC. And so I have Richard Nash with me today, but my name is Jesse Townsend, and I'm a graduate intern in the Office of New Student and Family Services. Just to begin, I'll go over a few notes. This is a webinar, so only the panelists' cameras are on, and so we are not able to see you nor hear you. But if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box and we will save those for the end of the presentation and our presenter will answer those questions that you have. So the chat is disabled and the raise hand function is disabled, but you can still use the Q&A box to ask any questions that you have. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Richard Nash our presenter for today.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jesse. Yeah, so hello. I am Rick Nash. I am the enrollment officer for the Army ROTC program at UNC Charlotte. Just a little bit about myself. I have been with the Army ROTC program for 11 years. I did spend, prior to that, I spent 23 years on active duty, and I retired as an Army major. So first of all, I want to welcome you to UNC Charlotte. What a great choice of schools. I can certainly say from working at UNC Charlotte for 11 years that you will certainly not be disappointed in that decision. I also personally want to thank you for taking the next 50 minutes out of your day to spend with me. It does mean a lot to me, and I certainly won't waste your time. So anyway, what does the Army ROTC, what is the Army ROTC program, and what opportunities does it have for you? So that's the first question I'm going to try to answer for you. Our program is a leadership development program that could lead to a commission as a second lieutenant on active duty in the National Guard or in the Army Reserves. So our program does commission in all three of those branches of the Army. Our program is a 4-year program, and it consists of one class and one leadership lab every semester. Our leadership labs consist of 2-hour weekly labs, and that will probably go through the month of October. And then we are going to have 2 Super Saturday labs, which basically what I'm saying is instead of 2-hour weekly labs, I think we're going to start combining some of the later labs and do like 1 or 2 8-hour Saturday labs later on in the semester. And then the plan, and of course, everybody's coming into a different environment this fall. So, we're just planning as best as we can. So certainly, things could change, and we may have to, change different things that we have, on the schedule as far as training. But we also are planning on one weekend in November, taking everybody down to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, doing some obstacle courses, probably some day and night land nav stuff, just a little bit of opportunity to play in the dirt a little bit. As you go through our program, I've talked about the classes and labs and what our leadership labs consist of. But if you stay in our program and you eventually get contracted, everybody is required to go to a 37-day advanced camp at Fort Knox, Kentucky during the summer. And this is typically done during the summer between your junior and your senior years. So one of the things, we're a leadership development program, like I said before, and you learn a lot as a freshman, and you learn even more as a sophomore. And then your junior year typically is a full year of getting you ready to go to your advanced camp that next summer. So we're going to set you up well. We're going to put you as a junior. We're going to put you in leadership positions. We're going to put you in front of PT sessions. We're going to put you in front of classes. so that you get comfortable getting in front of people, and you've already planned and rehearsed, and you're well resourced, and you'll do well. There is also a 3 credit hour military history course. Um, this is a commissioning requirement, so it's just one course that you got to complete at some point while you're pursuing your bachelor's degree. There's no set semester that you have to take this. There's multiple courses that you can take too. We in the Army ROTC department offer what's called our MSCI 3000 class, which is our evolution of warfare. It's a course that we offer that meets this commissioning requirement through our department, and it's an online course. Additionally, there's multiple history courses in the history department that you can take. You just got to make sure that you take one class that it involves when the U.S. was in a major conflict, like the Civil War, or World War I, World War II, Iraq, Afghanistan campaigns, that kind of stuff. We conduct Army PT in the morning, so physical training on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. This goes from 6 to 7 in the morning. Um, it's not something that will start right away, so you don't need to worry about when does this start and stuff, but you'll come to your class first. So you'll register for your Army ROTC class or your leadership lab, and whatever's first after the 7th of September, you'll come to class or lab, and we'll make sure you know when our PT sessions are going to start. Since most of you are, if you're incoming freshmen, you're not contracted yet, so you haven't been issued any kind of uniforms or anything. So you're going to come to class in normal college civilian attire. You're going to come to PT in the morning wearing whatever's appropriate for that morning as an outdoor event. So if it's warm, then you can wear shorts and a t-shirt and running shoes. If it's cooler, then obviously you need to get into some sweats and stuff like that. Our leadership labs, same thing. So it's primarily an outdoor event, so you'll need to make sure that you're wearing something comfortable for the day. In our leadership labs, we do some things that are going to get you dirty and are going to get you sweaty. So wear something that you don't mind getting a little dirty and sweaty, and that you can throw in a washing machine for our leadership labs. Our PT session, going back to that, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings from 6 to 7, it is required for all of our contracted cadets. And it's highly encouraged for those that are wanting to contract. Okay, so our program, so everybody knows, our freshman and sophomore classes are open to anybody on campus. Anybody on campus can take our freshman and sophomore classes, primarily just to see if this is something that some kind of a military career is for them. There's no military service obligation for taking them. So a lot of opportunities, class, labs, PT, you get to do it all and see if it's right for you, so you can make an informed decision. Okay, we now, in addition to the PT on 3 days a week, we also do an Army PT test. Okay, it's the Army physical fitness test right now. It's the older version of what the Army uses. It's a 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. We expect that that'll probably be the norm as far as a PT test for this academic year. We are in the process of getting resourced with all the equipment that we need to conduct the new Army PT test, and we will probably, the hope is in the spring, everybody will be able to take an assessment or a diagnostic test with the new test, so that you kind of know what it all involves, and what your shortfalls are and stuff like that. But certainly coming into the fall semester, You need to be focused on the 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and the 2-mile run. Our freshman class, just to kind of give you an idea of what the class looks like, the freshman class is a 1 credit hour course. It meets for 50 minutes once a week. Our sophomore classes are a 2 credit hour course, so it meets for an hour and 40 minutes once a week. And then our junior and senior classes are a 3 credit hour course, so they meet for 2.5 hours once a week. We've kind of gotten away from like the Tuesday, Thursday, or the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. So all of our classes are offered at least 2 times. We normally have a Tuesday morning option and a Wednesday afternoon option. The freshman class, because our freshman class is usually a little bit bigger than the rest, we have a Thursday option for that. So multiple options, but you're only going to come to class once a week. We also do this because of the way our program is set up. UNC Charlotte is our host school, but we have, I would say, about 10 schools that feed into our program. We actually have Army ROTC instructors that teach the freshman and the sophomore classes currently out at Davidson College, Gardner-Webb University, and at Winthrop University down in South Carolina. But we have UNC Charlotte has a consortium agreement with multiple other schools in the area that allow them to get added to our class rosters just like a UNC Charlotte student, and gives them the opportunity to pursue a commission as well. So we will, when you're sitting in class, your neighbor right next to you might be from CPCC or Central Piedmont Community College. They might be from Wingate University or Pfeiffer or Belmont Abbey or Catawba College. So there's multiple colleges that feed into our program, which is one of the really great things about our program. It makes us very unique compared to the other Army ROTC programs out there. Okay, and then as far as our leadership labs, like I said, every semester you'll have to be involved in a leadership lab as well. So those are 1 credit hour leadership labs. Our leadership labs are all conducted at one time. So the freshmen and the sophomores are basically the audience. The juniors will be the instructors and also rotating in and out of leadership positions. And then our seniors are actually the ones that plan the event, making sure that it's well resourced. They'll also do some interaction and mentorship and all that kind of stuff. So everybody is involved in the leadership labs in one shape or another. The freshman and sophomore classes consist of a lot of the same courses or subjects. You just get into greater detail the sophomore year. You'll start out in our classes will be things like the Army rank structure, how to wear uniforms, systems and courtesies, the Army organization structure, like what is a squad and what is a platoon and what is a company, those kind of things. We will talk about stress and time management, leadership styles and characteristics. You'll learn how to read a map. You'll learn how to do land navigation. You'll learn how to use a compass, and you'll also start learning some military tactics. Our primary or our not that the freshmen and sophomores are not important, because you certainly are, because you're in that growing mode. But our primary audience for our leadership labs is our juniors. Okay, again, those are the ones that have recently contracted. They're getting ready to go to the advanced camp. So we got to simulate Army tactics. So we got to build squads and we got to build platoons so that these juniors can be put in leadership positions and actually have people that they got to delegate authority to and all that kind of stuff. So the leadership labs, a lot of it you will see revolve around the juniors and what they have to do to get ready for advanced camp. Our senior class, their primary focus is becoming a second lieutenant. Okay, so they've already completed the major part of the tactics portion. They've already come back from the advanced camp. Now they're getting ready to be second lieutenants and going on to their BOLIC, which is their basic officer leadership course, and then a follow-on assignment as an Army officer. So they do a lot of the mentoring and evaluating of the juniors, and they're in our key leadership positions within our Corps of Cadets. I've already mentioned that the first 2 years of our program incurs no military obligation unless unless something comes up and you are offered a contract or a scholarship. Obviously if you contract and you get offered a 3-year scholarship to start your sophomore year and you accept it, then you're going to contract and you will incur a military service obligation at that point in time. So there are 3 ways to contract. So we're going to talk a little bit about contracting and stuff. You can contract being on scholarship. You can contract as what we call an SMP cadet, which is a simultaneous membership program. And the simultaneous membership is with our National Guard and our Army Reserves. So we have probably 20% of our students that go through our Army ROTC programs. They are currently enlisted in the National Guard and Army Reserves. Some have gone to basic training and some have gone to basic training in AIT. And since their military service obligation with the Guard or Reserves is primarily just 1 week in a month and 2 weeks during the summer, they can be full-time students just like anybody else. So they're going through our Army ROTC program and they are able to contract as a non-scholarship contract called the SMP program. And then, of course, if you don't get offered a scholarship and you're not in the Guard or Reserves to contract as an SMP cadet, then we always have the opportunity for you to contract as a non-scholarship cadet. So, one of the things is even though you're in the Army ROTC program, you can always be thinking about joining the Army National Guard or Army Reserves. Okay, so feel free to reach out to me, talk to me. We have an Army Reserve recruiter that works with our program. We also have a National Guard recruiter that works for our program. I will provide you their information if you're interested so that you can talk to them about their opportunities and their educational benefits that you might be entitled to by enlisting. But certainly enlisting does not stop you from going through our program and commissioning as a second lieutenant. So one of the things you might need to consider, and if you're interested in the Guard or Reserves, is certainly during your freshman year, because even though they have the opportunity to contract as an SMP cadet, we can't contract anybody as an SMP cadet until you're an academic sophomore. So you got to have 30 credit hours or more to be eligible to contract. So you could still be in your freshman year and talking to Reserve and National Guard recruiter. You could at the end of your freshman year, you could go to basic training during the summer, come back and contract as an SMP cadet, or and there's more. Obviously, the more training you get, the bigger your education benefit package is. So sometimes we have students, they complete their freshman year, they enlist in the Guard or Reserves, they go to basic training in the summer, they go to their annual or their AIT, which is their MOS or their job specialty training during the fall semester. So they come out of school for a semester, and then they come back in the spring and they're fully eligible to contract. They get a full complement of educational benefits, monthly GI Bill benefits and kickers and tuition assistance programs and all that kind of stuff. So, so it's certainly something to look into, see if it's something for you, and we can get you to the right person so that you can also make an informed decision on that. And then our program, like I mentioned before, commissions second lieutenants in the National Guard or Army Reserve. So that's why I'm saying that you always need to be, at least thinking about the Guard or Reserves, because that's always an option for you through our program, even all the way to you commissioning. Because certainly, some of you are going to go into very interesting and educational fields or majors, and you may want to get your bachelor's degree and go into the civilian sector and find a civilian job that you like, but you still want to do that military training as a part-time career, and that's what the National Guard and Army Reserves allows you to do. Unless you, let's get off that track there. So unless you've been offered and accepted a 4-year national or a 4-year Minuteman scholarship, and a Minuteman scholarship is through the Guard or Reserve as well, the earliest that you can contract is the start of your sophomore year. So again, just like the S&P program, you coming in as a freshman, if you're not in the Guard or Reserves, you've got to complete our freshman and sophomore classes, or I'm sorry, our freshman classes and labs, and be an academic sophomore for us to contract you as a non-scholarship cadet. And one of the nice things that Cadet Command has done recently, just within this past year, is they allow cadets now that haven't got offered a 3-year Army ROTC scholarship to contract as a non-scholarship contract. And the one thing benefit of doing that is you start receiving our tax-free $420 a month stipend, our cadet stipend, because you're contracted. But it still allows you for that next full year to pursue a 2.5 or a 2-year scholarship to start your junior year. So certainly, if you're definitely in this to get commissioned, then you're going to want to do well your freshman year. You're going to want to take a PT test. You're going to want to get medically qualified. Make sure you have a great GPA, so that you have, well, number one, you have an opportunity of possibly picking up a scholarship. But if not, then you can go ahead and contract at the beginning of your sophomore year, start receiving that monthly stipend, and still have the opportunity to possibly pick up a scholarship. So, I talk about the scholarships. The reason why I don't say anything about guaranteed scholarships and stuff like that is because our scholarships are competitive. Okay, our program at UNC Charlotte, or really no host program, controls any scholarship money. All the scholarship money is controlled at our brigade level, which is at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and there's 7 brigades across the nation. So our 4th Brigade, headquarters out of Fort Bragg, they control all of the Army ROTC programs up and down the East Coast, from Delaware all the way down to South Carolina. So there's 38 schools in our brigade, and you actually compete for scholarships against those other 38 school students. So we submit your name, your GPA, your PT test scores, that kind of stuff, and you're put on a scholarship order of merit list. And based on the amount of money that our brigade periodically gets, they fund as many scholarships as they can, but it's off of that order of merit list. So that's why I tell you that you may get offered a scholarship. I'm not telling you that you're guaranteed to get offered a scholarship. But as a freshman, you'll come in And probably within the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to get counseled. I'm going to come in there and I'm going to go down the list line by line on exactly what you need to do to set yourself up for success for a possible 3-year scholarship or a possible 2.5 or 2-year scholarship. And if it doesn't pan out, then you can certainly contract at the beginning of your junior year on a non-scholarship contract. Okay, I kind of lost where I was at here, so let me get back into my notes. Okay, so I talked about the scholarship stuff. I talked about the National Guard, Army Reserves, and S&P stuff. So, okay, so yeah, so going into your junior year. So the first 2 years, depending on your, again, your GPA, your PT test scores, all that kind of stuff, you could get placed on this scholarship order or merit list, may pick up a scholarship. But if you come back the start of your junior year, which is our final 2 years of the program, you have got a contract one way or the other during that fall semester of your junior year. So if you come back and you're enrolled in our MSCI 3101 class and our 3101L, and we have not received a 2-year scholarship offer for you, you will have to make a decision that semester on whether or not you want to contract as a non-scholarship cadet, which at that point in time, it's you would just start receiving our $420 tax-free every month, but that would lock you into a commission. So, there's some things you got to do. You got to go at advance camp and you got to maintain your GPA and all that kind of stuff. But once you're contracted, you are in a contract with the Army to get commissioned as a second lieutenant. So if your end goal is to become an officer and go on active duty or go into the Guard or Reserves, and you haven't been offered a scholarship, then that fall semester of your junior year, you're going to contract as a non-scholarship cadet so that you can get locked into that opportunity to commission. And the primary reason why everybody has to be contracted during that fall semester of their junior year is because that next semester, that spring semester, we're getting everybody ready to go out to the advance camp. So because you got to attend that 37-day advance camp at Fort Knox. So there's a lot of military orders. There's airline tickets and things like that and administrative packets and medical stuff that we got to do and make sure that you're fully done and ready to go that summer. We primarily do all of that during that spring semester. Service obligation. So everybody that goes through our Army ROTC program has an 8-year service obligation. And I know that sounds like a lot, but the way you serve that is comes in different forms. So primarily, if you go through our program and let's say you were not offered a scholarship and you contract as a non-scholarship cadet, you can everybody goes through what's called an accession board at the very beginning of their senior year to determine whether or not they're going to get picked up for active duty, whether they're going to go in the National Guard or Army Reserves. And I'll talk a little bit about the accession board a little bit later. But if you get picked up for active duty and you are not on scholarship, then you've got to serve 3 years. You got to serve the first 3 years of that 8-year commitment on active duty. Once you get to that 3-year mark, then you can do like mainly 3 decisions. You can stay on active duty and pursue a military career. At that 3-year mark, you can get out and go into the National Guard or Army Reserves and start pursuing a civilian career at that point in time. Or you can actually get fully out and go into what's called our inactive reserve status. where you're really just your name and your specialty is put on a list, and it's a non-drilling status. So you go on with your life as a civilian, but over those next 5 years, if we go into a major conflict and we need to pull people back onto active duty to support that conflict, then you would be eligible for that callback. Um, Now, same thing. So everybody, you get commissioned. You got this 8-year service obligation. If you were on a scholarship at any point in time, whether it was a 2-year or a 4-year or anything in between, and you get picked up for active duty, then you got to serve the first 4 years of that 8 years before you can make those same 3 decisions that I just previously mentioned. So that if, and then the other piece of it is as you go through our program, you can actually decide whether or not you want to pursue the National Guard or Army Reserves. That's one thing in our program that is basically a guarantee. So if you want a commission, you don't want to go active duty and you want to pursue a commission in the National Guard or Army Reserves, that can definitely, basically be guaranteed. Now, when I say that, everything is based on the needs of the Army um, at the time that you're commissioned. So I'm gonna drink some water and I'll be right back to you. Okay, so now going back to the opportunity to basically guarantee that you're getting commissioned in the National Guard or Army Reserves. So as far as the service obligation, so I can make sure I wrap that up, if you go through our program and you were on scholarship at any point in time and you decide that you want to go into the National Guard or Army Reserves, since that is a part-time commitment, then when you commission, when I say part-time, it's 1 week in a month and 2 weeks during the summer, but you will have a full 8-year military service obligation in the National Guard or Army Reserves. So that will be your obligation. If you went through our program and was never offered a scholarship, and you decide that you want to get commissioned in the National Guard or Army Reserves, then you have to serve the first 6 of those 8 years in a drilling National Guard or Army Reserve status. And then after the 6-year mark, you can continue on and pursue a career in the Guard or Reserves, or you can actually get out those last 2 years and be in that inactive reserve status again. So that's what the 8-year service obligation actually looks like once you get commissioned. Okay, let me talk a little bit about the accession board before I get to the last bit of my notes and stuff. So what happens is we are looking, some of you coming in as freshmen, we don't really know what the Army is going to be doing 4 years down the road. Okay, we don't know what the strength of the military is going to be. We don't know if if we have a new president elected, whether that individual's priority is going to shift out of the military. Maybe they want to have a smaller army or smaller military. So, in the 35 years that I have been either on active duty or in an Army ROTC program, I have seen the Army draw down at least twice, major drawdowns where they're getting rid of people that are overweight or are not making standards anymore, and they also do some incentives out there, asking for volunteers that want to go ahead and get out so that they can bring the Army to an end strength. So sometimes when you get ready to commission, depending on what the Army's doing, is going to determine how much of an opportunity you have for active duty. Because the way it's looked over the last 11 or 12 years since I've been in the program is there's always more young individuals like yourself that want to pursue active duty than the active duty can support. Okay, so somebody has to go into the Guard or Reserves. So what they do is they use this accession board. So this accession board happens at the very beginning of your senior year. And if at some point in time before the accession board you have decided that you want to get commissioned in the National Guard or Army Reserves, you've already put that in your preference statement that is going before this accession board, and it's almost a guarantee that they're going to select you for a National Guard or Army Reserve commission, because they want you to get what you desire. So they're going to do everything they can to make sure that happens. But there's also ways once you're contracted that you can request a guaranteed reserve forces duty or a GRFD control number so that you actually get locked into that National Guard or Army Reserve commission. But the accession board actually is, I would just say, just consider it kind of like a packet. Okay, a lot of things that go into this packet is your cumulative GPA plays a big part of it, and that at the end of your junior year, whatever cumulative GPA you have, you're stuck with that. You will take a record Army PT test both the fall and the spring semester of your junior year. That will go into your packet. You will take an Army PT test when you go out to the advanced camp, and that test score will go in there. Our professor of military science. So, we currently have a professor of military science, Major Blake Smith, but he won't be the professor of military science when you get ready to go into your junior year. So a lot of the recommendations comes from the Army ROTC instructors that you've had along the way. Because at the end of your junior year, that whoever our professor of military science is at the time has to rank their entire junior class based on leadership potential. So that and our professor of military science is short is the PMS. So our PMS has to generate an MS3 OML roster. So that ranking, you could be the number 1 cadet, you could be the number 30 cadet on this ranking. But that ranking goes into your accession packet as well. You go out to the advanced camp, and then you do a lot of day and night written land nav. You do obstacle courses. You get put into multiple leadership positions and get evaluated. So all those test scores and evaluations go into your accession packet. And then you come back your senior year and you have 3 primary choices. So you have 2 preference areas that you need to work on. Is the one is, do you want to go on active duty? Do you want to go in the National Guard? Do you want to go in the Army Reserves? And you rank those accordingly. And then you also rank all of the Army branches. So, whether you want to be an infantry officer or a transportation officer or a signal officer, all 16 or 17 branches that there is, you'll have to list them as in your preference order as well. And then that entire packet goes up to Cadet Command, and they hold an accession board. And based on all those scores, you are actually placed in a National Order of Merit list. And that National Order of Merit list determines who is going on active duty and what branch in the Army you're going to go into. And again, most of the time, there's more people that want to go active duty than active duty can support. So that's why active duty cannot be guaranteed, where the Guard and Reserves can basically be guaranteed. But whether or not you go on active duty and what branch you're going to serve in the Army is based on your Order of Merit score, your National Order of Merit score in that accession board. Okay, so you'll definitely understand that entire process as you go through our program. So some basic requirements to contract: you must be a U.S. citizen. You must turn in an approved academic plan, and we'll walk you through that. You have to pass an Army PT test. You must meet height and weight standards. You must be medically qualified to enter the Army. You have to have a GPA of at least a 2.0 to contract as a non-scholarship cadet, and you must have at least a cumulative GPA of a 2.5 to be eligible for a scholarship. But I can tell you right now, I haven't seen in 11 years very many scholarships at all that have been offered for anybody that has less than a cumulative GPA of a 3.0. So yeah, and then as far as the medical process, what we do is you've got to pass an Army PT test with us to be eligible to go and do the medical piece, because it's just a physical, and it costs taxpayer dollars, and we're going to have 160 cadets in our program, and just because you want to be an officer doesn't mean that we're going to let the taxpayers pay a physical for you to see if you're eligible to enter the Army. So what we do is we kind of put it on you. So we're going to tell you what the standard is as far as passing the PT test. And once you pass a PT test, then we'll upload you into the medical system to get that physical done. So how to get started: you got to get enrolled in the appropriate class and lab. For the most part, if you're a freshman, you need to enroll in our MSCI 1101 class and our 1101L, the leadership lab. If you're outside of that, if you're not a brand new freshman, or if you're coming in an academic sophomore level, then you need to reach out to me. I need to talk to you first. We need to come up with a game plan as far as what classes and leadership labs you actually need to enroll in. But if you're a freshman, you just need to get in that 1101 and 1101L. Also, use this summer to get yourself in shape. So a real quick snapshot for a Army PT test. For a male, you got to be able to do 42 push-ups in 2 minutes. You got to be able to do 53 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and you got to be able to run 2 miles in less than 15:54. Okay, so those 42 push-ups, 53 sit-ups, and 15:54 are the bare minimums for you to pass that PT test. And you got to pass all 3 events to pass the PT test. So if you fail one of the events, then you have a failed PT test. For the females out there, you got to be able to do 19 push-ups in 2 minutes. You got to be able to do 53 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and you got to be able to run the 2 miles in less than 18:54. Again, 19 push-ups, 53 sit-ups, and the 2-mile run in less than 18:54. So that's certainly something you can do over the next month or two as you're getting ready to go to school, is start working on those. I need you to come to class, and I need you to bring a copy of your birth certificate, your social security card, and your driver's license. Okay, I don't need originals. If you bring originals, I'll make copies for you. But try to bring me a copy of those 3 documents, because I need those to be able to upload you into our cadet database. And then the last thing is and we'll send out an email that everybody is enrolled in our freshman class. There is what's called, and you can also find it in Google, it's a DA, which is Department of the Army, but it's just a DA form 3425. It's a very simple form. It's called a statement of fitness, but that needs to be signed by either your physician, your family doctor, or when you come to school, we can get that signed, or you can go over to the Student Health Center and get that signed off. but that's going to be required for you to participate in our PT, our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday PT. It's going to be required for you to participate in our leadership labs and stuff like that. So try to go ahead and access that DA form 3425 just through Google and get one of your family physician to sign off on it. Okay. And the last thing I want to say is not everyone in our program, everybody's unique. Some of us are coming in as true freshmen. Some are coming different avenues. Some are coming from JROTC programs. Some are serving in the National Guard or Army Reserves. All kinds of different unique I guess avenues of coming in. So if you think you're in a unique situation, I highly encourage you to go ahead and reach out to me by email. My email address is R for my first name, Rick, and then my last name, Nash, which is N-A-S-H, N as in November, A-S-H, the number 3 at uncc.edu. So again, my email is rnash, the number 3 at uncc.edu. I have a government cell phone, which I just turned in yesterday. It's got to go back to my brigade headquarters at Fort Bragg so that they can issue me a new one. So I probably for the next 2 weeks won't be able to answer any phones because I'm not working from my office, but just a couple things. So eventually I will be back in my office, and my office phone number is 704-687-8633. Again, my office number is 704-687-8633. And then in about 2 weeks, I'll have my government cell phone number or cell phone back. And that number is 704-762-5379. So 704-762-5379. But right now, the best way to get a hold of me is through my email, that rnash3 at uncc.edu. So I do, and then one last thing I'd like to tell you, we have as I said, our seniors run the program. The cadre, we're there to train you and mentor and make sure everything's run safely. But as a true leadership development program, our seniors get heavily involved in what the program looks like. And our new cadet battalion commander, Cadet Pozos, she has been actively involved this summer. She may have already reached out to some of you, and she may to start getting you into some Facebook Live stuff. So if you see an email from Pozos, which is P-O-Z-O-S, that's her. She's the head honcho for our cadets, Corps of Cadets this coming semester. I do know tonight, if at 6 o'clock, if you're available, they're going to have a town hall meeting on Facebook Live, and that will be on our Facebook page, which is Army ROTC, 49er Battalion. So Army ROTC, 49er Battalion. That's our Facebook page, and she's going to host a town hall meeting on that, and it'll talk about what our program is going to look like in the fall, how the COVID-19 is going to affect some things. So I think it'd be a great opportunity for you to get in there and kind of see what the way ahead looks like. So that is my briefing. I'm sorry, it's about 45-50 minutes of straight talk. I do appreciate you being with me, and I'm going to open it up for some questions.
All right. So the first question that they had was, are there scholarship options for those starting ROTC in their junior year?
The answer is no. I have some juniors that are that have been in our program for 2 years, and they are they're going to be contracted as non-scholarship cadets. It's if you only have 2 years left, then you're going to contract as a non-scholarship cadet, or you're the only other options is you're going to just take our junior and senior classes and get our military science minor, and you won't be commissioned. Or you can go and get your bachelor's degree, work with an Army recruiter to go through, get enlist as an OCS or officer candidate school option, to get commissioned that way. But yeah, we're this summer is the last opportunity that individuals have to be offered a 2-year scholarship to start their junior year. And like I said, I've got 2 or 3 of them that are still on that scholarship wish list that have been in the program for 2 years, and they probably won't get one. So no, it's going to be a non-scholarship contract. You'll get the $420 a month, but that's pretty much what we'll have to be able to offer you.
Okay, next question. Is there a ROTC program for other branches such as Navy through UNCC?
Yeah, a great question. Yeah, the Air Force, we're both in the same building. We're in Memorial Hall. Half the building belongs to the Air Force ROTC program, and we have the other half. The Air Force, great program, great cadre. I highly encourage you to look into their program as well. I just can't say enough good things about it. There is not a Navy program. I think NC State is the only one state school that has a Navy program, and then the Marines do something different. They do like summer training type stuff. They don't actually have an ROTC program.
Okay. You said that we are required to take one history class, but if we have taken an AP World History class already and gotten college credit for it, then do we still have to take the history class?
Okay, so one of the things we have is we what they'll need to do is they'll need to ask their Army ROTC instructor. We have a form that if they think they've already taken a course that meets that requirement, they will fill out the form. It'll list the name of it. It'll ask for a general summary of what that course was about, and that is turned into their Army ROTC instructor, and it's reviewed by the professor of military science to see if it meets that requirement. If it is, then the professor of military science will approve it, sign it. That paperwork will be put in their cadet file so that we know that they've already met that requirement. But yeah, that's the process we have. It definitely, it can't be a general history class, but it's got to be focused on the U.S. being in a major conflict throughout history.
Okay. If we have already received a scholarship and have went through the medical examination, we should have already had the DA 3425 form signed.
Yeah,
Already?
a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So if you're already, if you've already been offered a scholarship and you're already going through the DOD-MERB medical process, definitely if you're already DOD-MERB qualified, that overrides the DA form 3425. The 3425 is just a basic form that says that you're fully capable of enrolling in a physical training type course. And it just, for people that haven't started the medical process, it's just our ability to make sure that some health professional has reviewed you, and make sure you don't have severe asthma or something that we are unaware of that could cause any issues. So, but yeah, if you're DOMR qualified, you do not need to get that DA form 3425 filled out. You're already covered.
All right. And last question. Being in the ROTC program for 4 years means that we will be minoring in military science.
Yes. We do offer a military science minor. It is something that you've got to. I'm losing my mind as far as what. So you have to apply for that. Okay, just like any other, you or declare it. So you declare your major. Mr. Lawrence is our university rep that works in our Army ROTC department. You will actually have to go to him and tell him that you want to declare military science as your minor. It's just a process. I think it's a simple process, but yes, if you go through our program and get commissioned, you will have taken all of the classes to meet the military science minor, but you still have to do that process, that declare piece, so that you actually get awarded it, I guess, when you get your bachelor's degree.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions today. But as Rick said earlier, he gave his contact information. So if you all have additional questions or concerns that you need to direct to him, you have his contact information. And also, this webinar has been recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube. So any information that you missed, you can definitely go back and review this webinar to look over it again. But I just want to thank you again, Rick, for taking the time out for this webinar and providing this information to students.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I will be on leave next week, and it'll pop up that I'm on leave if you send me an email. But I will be checking it throughout the week, and I also have a second lieutenant, a Napa. He's our Gold Bar recruiter, that may be also reaching out to you to have you ask questions.
All right, sounds great. Thank you everyone for attending and have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks.